There's a stack of receipts on my workbench right now, and I want to read a few of them out before we get into anything else. $4.99 for a bottle of thick blue bowl cleaner, the kind that clings. $6.49 for the same brand in a different bottle that says heavy duty on the label. $8 and change for a jug of bleach. Then another jug of bleach, then a third. $7.99 for a pumice stone on a stick. $5 for one of those blue tablets that sit in the tank. Add it up, and you are right around $47. That is what one homeowner spent in a single year fighting one ring in one toilet. And when I walked into that bathroom, the ring was still there. Dark gray, rough as a sidewalk, sitting at the water line like somebody drew it on with a marker. She was 2 weeks from calling a remodeler to tear that toilet out and set a new one. $300 for the fixture, a couple hundred more for the labor. $500 to get rid of a stain. I fixed it for about $2. 1 cup of a white powder from the canning aisle at the grocery store. No fumes. No scrubbing until your shoulder gives out. And it did not come back. So today I am walking you through the whole thing, front to back. 10 numbered steps and a bonus at the end that almost nobody thinks to do. As we go, I will keep knocking dollars off that receipt pile. Number 6 is the one folks skip. It is the reason that Ring creeps back on them even when they do everything else right. Number 1. Number 1. Before you buy anything, you need to understand what you are looking at, because everything else follows from it. That ring in your bowl is not a stain. I know it looks like one. It is not. It is a mineral deposit. Calcium and lime, mostly calcium carbonate, dropping out of your water and building up right at the water line where the air meets the water. Every time that bowl sits still, a microscopic layer of hard mineral gets left behind. Do that 10,000 times over a few years, and you get a ledge. Run your fingernail across it. Go ahead. It is rough. It catches. That is not color sitting on smooth porcelain. That is a crust with real thickness to it. Here is why that matters. Porcelain glaze is glass. It is slick. Nothing sticks to it. But that mineral crust is porous and rough, like a cinder block, and it holds everything that comes past. Iron goes brown. Manganese goes black. Bacteria settle down in the pores and set up shop. So what you see as a dark ring is 2 things stacked: a mineral shelf and the discoloration living inside it. That is the whole ballgame. You are not fighting a color. You are fighting a shelf. $47 on that receipt pile, and every one of those products was aimed at the color. Number 2. Now we talk about bleach and why it keeps letting you down. Bleach is an oxidizer. What it does, and it does it well, is break apart the molecules that give something its color. It whitens. That is its whole trick. So you pour bleach in a stained bowl, let it sit, come back, and it looks better. Sometimes a whole lot better. You think you won. But you did not touch the mineral. That rough shelf is still bolted to the porcelain, exactly as thick as it was this morning. All you did was bleach out the discoloration living inside it. So the second that bowl goes back to normal use, the pores fill right back up. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there is your ring again. And you think, well, I need stronger bleach. Between you and me, that is the treadmill. That is how you end up with 3 empty jugs and a ring that never left. Now, one hard rule, and I want you to hear it before we go any further. Never mix bleach with an acid, any acid. Not vinegar, not a bowl cleaner that says acid on the label, and not the citric acid we are about to use. Bleach plus acid makes chlorine gas, and in a small bathroom with the door shut, it will put you on the floor, People get hurt every year doing what they thought was double cleaning. If you have used bleach in that bowl, flush it 2 or 3 times and let it clear before anything acidic goes in. Knock the bleach off the list, and we are down to about $22. Number three. Before you treat anything, figure out which ring you have, because there are 2 of them and they need 2 different things. Ring number 1 is the crusty mineral ring. Gray, brown, black, sometimes rusty orange if you are on well water. It sits at the water line, it is rough to the touch, and it has been getting slowly worse for years. That is the calcium ring, and that is what we are dissolving today. Ring number 2 is pink, sometimes salmon, sometimes almost orange. It shows up in the bowl and in shower corners and around drains too. It is slimy, not crusty. Here is the tell: you can wipe it off with a rag, but it is back in a week. That pink ring is not mineral at all. That is a bacteria called Serratia marcescens. It is airborne, it is in nearly every house, and it feeds on soap residue. It loves a bathroom that stays damp. It is not a sign your house is dirty, so do not take it personal. The reason to tell them apart is simple. Citric acid dissolves the mineral ring and does nothing much for the bacteria. A disinfectant kills the bacteria and does nothing for the mineral. Use the wrong one, and you will swear the fix did not work. Most folks with a bad bowl have both, and I will show you in number 9 how to handle that without ever putting the 2 chemicals together. $22 still on the table. Let us go spend 2 of it. Number 4. Here is what you are buying, and here is what it costs. Citric acid. Food grade, plain white powder, looks like coarse sugar. That is the whole product. You will find it in the canning aisle at the grocery store, near the pectin and the pickling salt, because canners use it to acidify tomatoes. Some stores also put it in the spice section in a little jar. Walk past that jar. 2 ounces for $4, same powder. Buy it by the pound. A 1-pound bag runs $8 to $10 online or at a restaurant supply or a brewing shop. A treatment uses about a cup, so call it $1 to $2 a shot. Here is what that $2 buys you that 5 never did. Citric acid does not bleach the color out. It reacts with the calcium carbonate and turns it into calcium citrate, which is water-soluble. The mineral dissolves and rinses away. The shelf goes with it, and you are down to bare glaze. That is the difference between covering something up and removing it. A few other things worth knowing. It is safe on the glaze. It is septic safe. And it is fume-free, which, if you have ever gassed yourself out of your own bathroom with a bowl cleaner, you know what that is worth. It is the same stuff sold in little packets to desk-scale coffee makers at 10 times the price. $2 spent. Now let us use it right, because the next part is where most people go wrong. Quick thing before we get to the water level. If this is making sense so far, go ahead and tap subscribe on the vintage Pipefitter. It does not cost you a dime, and it puts one real repair walkthrough in front of you every week, the kind of thing that usually takes 20 years on a job site to pick up. That is all. Back to the bowl. Number 5. Get the water out of the way first. This is the step people skip, and it is why a cup of citric acid sometimes does nothing at all. Think about it. Your bowl is holding a gallon or more of standing water. Dump a cup of powder in there, and it spreads through the whole volume. Now you have a weak solution that is barely acidic, and the ring sits at the waterline, where it is thinnest. $2 wasted. So here is what you do. Reach behind the toilet, down low on the left usually, and find the little oval handle on the supply line. That is your fill valve, sometimes called the angle stop. Turn it clockwise until it stops. If it is not moved in 15 years, it may take some persuasion. so go gentle and steady. Now flush. The tank empties, the bowl clears, and because the valve is shut, nothing refills. Some water settles back into the trap. That is normal. What you want is the ring exposed to the air, or barely kissed by water underneath it. If the water still covers part of it, bail a little out with a paper cup, or press a wad of paper towel into the trap to soak the level down. Wear a glove and do not overthink it. Ask me how I know. I have watched a fellow pour a whole bag of good product into a full bowl and tell me the stuff was junk. It was not junk, it was diluted. $2 spent, and 0 of it wasted now. Number six, the cup and the dwell. I told you at the top that number 6 is where people go wrong. Here's the truth of it. Almost nobody gives this enough time. Pour in 1 cup of citric acid powder right onto the ring and into the shallow water at the bottom. If the ring is high and dry, dampen it first with a wet sponge so the powder has something to cling to, then sprinkle a good handful right on the band. Take your brush and stir gently for about 10 seconds, just to wet the powder through. You will hear a little fizzing. That is the acid meeting the carbonate and letting go of carbon dioxide. That sound means it is working. Now walk away. Not 20 minutes, not an hour. Give it 4 hours minimum, and overnight is better. I set it up after supper and deal with it before coffee. Here is why. That shelf is not a film. It is a structure with depth. The acid has to work down through it from the outside in. 20 minutes gets you the outer skin. 8 hours gets you the shelf. And put a note on the lid if anybody else is home, because somebody flushing at midnight sends your whole treatment down the drain and you start over in the morning. Still, $2. Just add patience, which is free. Number 7. Get up under the rim, because that part you cannot see is worse than the part you can. Take a small mirror, or your phone camera flipped around, and look up under the lip of the bowl where the rinse holes are. On most toilets more than a few years old, you will find a crust in there, right over and around the little holes. That crust does 2 things. It keeps seeding new mineral and bacteria down onto the bowl faster than you can clean it off, which is the real reason some rings come back in days. And it slowly plugs the rinse holes, so the bowl stops getting a proper wash on every flush. Trouble is, a cup of anything sitting in the bottom of the bowl never touches the underside of that rim. So do this instead. Take 2 or 3 tablespoons of your citric acid and just enough warm water to make a thick paste, about like toothpaste. Use an old toothbrush or a gloved finger to smear it up under the rim all the way around. It stays put. For heavy buildup, soak strips of old rag or paper towel in a strong citric solution and press them up against the underside of the rim so they hold contact. Let them sit as long as the bowl treatment. Contact time is everything with an acid, nothing added to the receipt. You already own the toothbrush. Number 8, the brush pass and putting it all back. Come back the next morning. Here is the part that surprises people the first time. You do not scrub. You should not need to. Take an ordinary bowl brush, or better a stiff nylon detail brush, and make 1 light pass around the ring. If you gave it the hours, that mineral releases in a sheet or turns to soft paste and comes away. If you are leaning into it and grunting, stop. The dwell was too short, and the answer is more time, not more muscle. Do not reach for the pumice stone. I know it is sitting under the sink. Pumice will take the ring off, and it will also put a haze of fine scratches into your glaze, and every one of those scratches is a new anchor point for the next ring. You traded a stain you can dissolve for a rough surface you cannot fix. Same goes for anything with grit in it, and for a wire brush. Nothing harder than nylon touches that glaze. Once the ring lets go, pull the rag strips out from under the rim. Brush that area lightly, then open the fill valve back up. Let the tank fill, then flush 2 or 3 times to carry it all out. Then look at it in good light. Bare glaze, slick to the finger, no ledge. That is what done looks like. Total spent, $2. Total saved off the new toilet, right around $500. Number 9. Now we go back and deal with the pink, and this is where that safety rule comes home. Once the mineral shelf is gone, you have taken away the rough, porous place the bacteria were living in. That alone knocks the pink way down. But Serratia is airborne, so if pink is your problem, you still need a disinfectant to kill it. Here is the order, and do not shortcut this. Do your citric treatment. Brush it out. Restore the water. Then flush that bowl 3 full times, so the acid is completely gone, and what sits in the trap is fresh water. Then, and only then, use your regular disinfectant bowl cleaner or a diluted bleach solution and let it sit 20 minutes before brushing. A different day is better still. There is no prize for doing both in one afternoon. I will say it again, because it is the one thing here that can actually hurt you. Acid and bleach together make chlorine gas. It does not take much. If you ever get a sharp, choking smell off a toilet you are cleaning, do not investigate it. Open the window, walk out, shut the door, and give it half an hour. And run the exhaust fan when you shower, so that room gets a chance to dry out, because damp is what pink feeds on. Add $1 for the disinfectant you already own. Call it $3 all in. Number 10. This is the one that makes the word forever in that title honest. And I want to be square with you. Nothing in plumbing is permanent. Your water keeps carrying calcium into that bowl the same as always. What we did today was remove the shelf and get you back to bare glaze. What keeps it gone is that you never let a new shelf get started. So here is the maintenance, and it takes about 4 minutes. Once a month, pour a 1/4 cup of citric acid into the bowl last thing at night. No shutting the water off, no bailing. Pour it in, stir it with the brush, leave it until morning, flush it away. That is it. A fresh mineral layer is thin and soft, and a weak overnight soak wipes it out before it ever becomes a ledge you can feel. If you are on hard water, and you know if you are because you fight spots on the shower door and crust on the aerators, go every 3 weeks instead. If the whole house is fighting scale, a water softener is the real answer, but that is another video. For the bowl, a 1/4 cup a month is the whole program. 12 treatments a year out of a bag that costs $9. That is your ring gone and staying gone. And subscribe CTA. That is the full method, start to finish. Thank you for staying with me the whole way through. If it was worth your time, subscribing to The Vintage Pipefitter is how you keep more of it coming. 1 new video a week, real repairs off real service calls, laid out plain enough that you can do them yourself. I appreciate you being here. Bonus tip. Now here is the bonus I promised, and this one has nothing to do with how the bowl looks. While you have that bag of citric acid open, use it to fix a weak flush. Here is the thing almost nobody knows. Your toilet has 2 water paths, not 1. Those little rinse holes under the rim wash the sides down, and there is a bigger hole at the bottom of the bowl, usually toward the front, called the siphon jet. That jet starts the siphon and pulls the bowl empty. It does the heavy lifting on every flush. Both passages are inside the china where you cannot see them, and both scale up with the same calcium we have been dissolving all day. a little each year. Nobody notices the day it happens. So one day, your toilet is weak. It takes 2 flushes. You are ready to buy a new one or pay a man to come look at it. 9 times out of 10, there is nothing wrong with that toilet. The passages are half closed with lime. To clear them, shut the fill valve and flush the tank down. Then pour a cup of citric acid dissolved in hot water straight down the overflow tube. That open pipe standing up in the middle of the tank. That is the route the rim water takes. Let it sit overnight. In the morning, open the valve, flush several times, then take a bent piece of stiff wire and pop the loosened crud out of each rinse hole. I have brought back toilets that folks had already picked out a replacement for. $2 of powder and 1 night of waiting against $300 of new porcelain. That is the whole receipt pile. Cleared. $47 a year of stuff that did not work, and $500 of new toilet that was never necessary. Beaten by 1 cup of a canning ingredient and a little patience. Go look at your bowl tonight. Run your fingernail across that ring. Now you know exactly what you are feeling and exactly what to do about it. I will see you next week.